Just feel that blood just. It's a cool feeling, my opinion. What's going on? Just loosen up the chest before chest and back today. So I got this little massager gun. It's like a Hypervolt, if you've seen a Hypervolt before, but like way cheaper. Well, we used to have a Hypervolt, but I think it got stolen out of our garage or something because this shit just vanished one day. And even after we moved, packed up the house and moved out, never found the damn thing. So this I got on Amazon, and it was like 35 bucks or something like that. I got one at Walmart once after the Hypervolt went missing, and it was okay, but it lasted like 3 months, and then the battery just wouldn't work anymore. So this I've had for like over a year, and like it's not as powerful as the Hypervolt, but it's literally like a tenth of the price. So for the money, you can't beat it at all. But anyhow, what this does is it's like shockwaves. You can probably see on my bicep a little bit, but it's just like but shockwaves through the muscle, so it kind of like loosens stuff up. So I'd like to do this before a workout just to kind of open up the muscle, get more blood in there, get a better pump. I'll get into like this spot in between that shoulder and chest, that pec that gets tight on everybody. That's really good to rotate the arm and get underneath kind of where it ties into that humerus, the bone of the upper arm, underneath that bicep. That feels good. So with this thing, you might see some people like moving it all around like this, like using it like a massager. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Like when I'm moving it around, I'm looking for tight spots. And then when you find a tight spot, you want to let it sit on there. You don't need to do a lot of pressure. Just let the machine do its work. But if you're just like constantly moving around, you never stay on the tight spot long enough for it to actually do anything. So you see me moving around a little bit. That's just kind of like feeling the muscle, feeling for a little spot that's bound up. And then when I find something that's a little bit tight, I'll let it sit there for a little bit so I kind of feel that loosen up. So nothing major. We're just kind of moving that tissue around, loosen it up, allowing some more blood to get in there. So our first two exercises are going to be stretch position exercises. This is all tangled up. There we go. Stretch position exercises. So the purpose of stretch position exercises is we're pulling that muscle out as far as it'll go, activating those deep muscle fibers within to pull back. The more muscle fibers you activate in the beginning of the workout, the more you activate the entire rest of the workout. What I like about it is being wide like this, it's really pulling your arms out so you're getting a stretch this way, not just back. So I'm not gonna come way forward and torque my shoulders back like this. That's what gets really hard on that joint. Instead, we're gonna stay here and we're gonna focus on coming out and letting that shoulder kind of roll and open up here, and then I can rotate in. So I'm gonna come kind of down and twist like this, and it's gonna really pull everything in, and that's what's gonna give that big full roundness, get a lot of blood in the muscle to start. So I wanna be right here, have my body just a little bit in front of the cables there. Big stretch. So this first set is a warm-up set. I'm going real light, about half of the weight I'm going to do for a working set. I come out, really let those shoulders open up. Feel that joint kind of separate there. Not in a bad way, but let that shoulder open up. So a lot of people get real tight in the shoulders because they want to go too heavy, keep it here. Let that come open. Let the bicep open up like this. So we're really stretching out that joint. Then on your flies, think like you're in a swimming pool and how you bring your hands together like this to push yourself back. That's the best thing to think about on a fly. You don't want to be coming forward like this. You want the chest to be your pecs pulling out in front. So think like you're almost moving your body back as you squeeze those pecs in front. We're gonna do these rows. We'll turn the Voltra on. And we'll go, let's go like 50 to start with. So this exercise, we're gonna pull back here. Now I'm gonna kind of push my hip into this bench, and that's gonna hold that stable so I can get this big stretch forward and letting that shoulder roll over the top so I get that full stretch, and then squeeze back. Big stretch and squeeze. So this being a warm-up, I'm really focusing on that stretch, like feeling that lat open up. A big thing you'll notice too, my chest stays down. I'm not arching my chest up like that. That's a big mistake. We'll talk about this a lot more with some of the other back exercises that we do. But one of the biggest mistakes people make is arching the back like this because they feel a squeeze right in here in the middle when you go like this. But that's not a squeeze, that's a pinch because you're bending your spine backwards. That's not the way it works. So we always want to keep ribs down, chest. When you say chest up, we mean we're going to lift the whole rib cage up. We're not going to push our chest up this way, right, from the side. We're not pushing up, we're lifting the whole thing. So there's no arching of the back. It's just elevating that torso. Just having your hip locked into this bench and getting that good stretch is another good way to decompress that lower back where we all get tight. So we'll take a quick rest and then go into our first working set. So the first exercise I do in the workout, so flies and these rows, I'll do a warm-up set that's about half the weight, roughly, that I'm going to use for my first working set. Then second set will be a little bit of a higher rep set, like anywhere between 12 reps on the very, 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 very low end to 20 on the high end. So usually more like 15 to 20 is where I'm at. But that first working set is a volume set. That's meant to get blood in the muscle, pump it up a little bit. And then the second set is going to be our heavier set. And that I'm going to usually do a drop set with that one. So that's when we're going close to failure on that second set. And then dropping the weight, push it a little bit more, dropping the weight, push it a little bit more. So first set is pump set. Second set is the hard working set, the heavy set. Oh, towards the end where you really feel those fibers opening up and that burn. Ah. Oh. 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 Damn. So one thing, come over here real close. Let me show you something. So when you grip this, you want this to sit across like this. You don't want to be up here where it's going across the, I don't know, ball of your hand. I don't know if that's a thing. But anyway, there. You want it to sit down here against that heavier bone. And then when you pull on a back exercise, you want to pull more with those little fingers. Because when you pull back like this, let me show you with this arm, right? You're getting more of a leverage pulling that arm back. That's going to get more lat. If you focus on pulling with the index and the middle finger, like this, that's where you're getting more biceps. So when you're focusing on that pull, keep that wrist over, right? So that that handle sits low. And then we're gonna pull through the bottom of the hand to really get those lats involved. So let that handle sit low in the hand. Come back around here. Big stretch, keep the abs tight. Pulling through those little fingers. Oh, damn. Rows, one arm rows are so fucking hard because they're heavy exercise and then you gotta do both arms. So you do one out of breath and then you gotta do the other arm. One arm dumbbell rows, I'll tell you, are my least favorite exercise ever because you're in that bent over position. So your diaphragm can't expand that much. So you're not getting good air. It's a heavy exercise. Then you got to switch over and do the other side. So I still do them, but I hate one arm dumbbell rows. So I do a lot of cables. Lock that hip, stretch. Oh. 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 Holy shit. Anybody that thinks that lifting isn't cardio, you're not training very hard. Because if you're training hard, you're breathing heavy, you're using an oxygen, your heart is fucking pounding. It's the same shit. Different forms, you know. If you want to do endurance, then you got to train for endurance. But if people think that if you're not doing cardio on a treadmill, elliptical, stairs, or just outside, that's not cardio. This shit's cardio too. So this one we're gonna drop set. So we're gonna go to pretty much failure. I usually stop like one rep short of failure. So I'll go to the point where I think I could probably do one more, but I don't like to bank on probably anymore because I don't want to get fucking hurt. I've had enough injuries, and then making this a career, I can't afford injuries, right? So it's my opinion better to go one or two reps shy of failure, play it safe, and then you're also not going to stress your nervous system as much. So you're going to be able to train more continuously. If you're going to failure all the time, every single set, you need to cut your training back. And so I don't like to do that either. I like to be in the gym because I enjoy it. So that's the thing, is if you really like to train, going to failure every time is probably not the best thing for you to do. All right, let's focus on this last one. One more drop. Oh, just feel that blood just. This is a cool feeling, in my opinion. So, catch a breath for a minute. We'll do another one of these one-arm rows. Doing flies first like this. We'll do presses second. You're most likely not going to be able to press as much weight, which some people don't like. But the thing about it is, we're focused on building the chest. It's not about how much weight we move. So doing the flies first, whether like today we're doing cable flies, another time we'll do dumbbells, whatever, right? Different variations of it, flat, incline, whatever. But I always do a fly first to open up that chest, activate those muscle fibers. So even though you're not going to press as heavy, you're going to get more growth out of your presses. So starting with those stretch position exercises, your weights on your compound movements will probably go down a little bit, but you're going to get a lot more out of the exercise. So that's the thing to remember is like when we're training, we're working out consistently day to day, it's not about hitting whatever fucking arbitrary number, right? It's about stimulating the muscle as much as possible for the most growth. So let's do our last one. Drop the weight. Oh man.
Oh gee, look at all the pretty stars. They're
First two exercises down. So next we're going to do incline press. I always like to start with inclines. So it really hits that upper part of the chest and brings that out. It gives you that full squared off look. So do incline press. Probably just do some pull downs for the back. Yeah, do that. So one thing we talk about while I'm getting this ready, you'll see when I do these presses, is tempo, right? So there are a lot of different tempos that you can use for different reasons. For most people, the best thing to do is just find a rhythm that really works well for you, and that's going to be different from exercise to exercise, right? So trying to count like whatever 4 seconds down, 2 seconds up, and count your reps, you're gonna go insane trying to count all these fucking numbers. So for big compound movements, like you'll see with this bench press, I like to do a relatively slow negative, a controlled, not super slow, but control down, and then really fast explosive up. So I'm trying to activate as many muscle fibers as possible. Basically, my thought on this is I'm bringing that bar to my chest, and then I'm trying to throw the bar off me, keeping it in my hand so it doesn't, go flying out across the room. But that explosiveness is what really gets more activation in my chest. Back is going to be similar. I'm going to be a little bit more slow, but rather than trying to stick to an exact tempo that someone tells you, try different things. Like some people are going to do better with real slow controlled reps. Other people are going to be better with more fast pumping style reps. So try some different things and really feel where you connect the most is the best way to go about it. Okay. So this bench press, we want to get our hips tucked underneath. And then so what you want to do is I take a big breath into my lungs, really elevate that rib cage up, extend my spine, and then lay back, right? Then I'm going to tuck the shoulder blades in, but I have my whole rib cage extended, opened up. That's going to flatten my back out. It's going to pull the core in. I'm going to have more stability that way, and I have a lot better press. So, it's fine. Again. Oh. Another thing, talking about weight, we have 225 today. Sometimes I might start a little lighter, like 195 or something. And it all depends how that's feeling, right? So I can go a lot heavier than this. I'm strong enough, I'm capable of doing a lot more weight. But I'm going to go up for my second set for that drop set. But if I was to go too much heavier, what's going to happen is you're going to feel tight the whole time. And if you're just tight the whole time, it feels heavy the whole time, you're not really doing reps. You're doing one kind of long extended rep because you're never really getting a full release and a full contraction. So it's hard to talk after doing this, you get out of breath. But you want to feel that full stretch and the release. I don't want to say drop it because you don't want to drop it, but you want to feel almost like a little bit of a spring. You feel that release and stretch, and almost like you're not bouncing off the chest, but you're using that natural stretch and spring of the muscle to launch you like a slingshot into that next rep. Here come that man again. Some days I might do heavier. Some days I might do lighter. It doesn't matter. It's all depending on how I feel. So feeling always comes before the number of the weight on the bar. Okay. Let's do pull downs. A lot of people are going to say this is wrong because there's a lot of people that teach how to do pull downs the wrong way because that's what they've known. And so they teach it just gets repeated. That shit's terrible, guys. So much bad information just gets passed down literally generation to generation because so many people just repeat shit they've been told and don't know any better. So most people, when they're doing their pull downs, tell me if this looks familiar. Like this. Pushing that chest up, getting that arch in the back. So when you're doing that, you're going like this. You're tucking your ribs back toward your lats. Literally, like you try to pull down, like you don't get that squeeze. It's not a squeeze. It's not a contraction. The lats are not doing anything. It's just everything bunching together. So the reason why you see some people where their back is like really wide and it just scoops into nothing and goes down, they don't have that full V taper because they have no lower lats. The reason they have no lower lats is because they're arching their back, thinking it's a squeeze, and it's not. So when that back gets tight, that's what pulls your ribs up like this, and now your core can't engage properly, and that's all the times what it gets that distended belly because the ribs are up and they can't pull down. So like even for me trying to put my back in that position, I can feel it already wanting to pull back. So we don't want to do that. So I'll show you now on my pull downs. Keep the abs tight, ribs down, pulled down and through. I'm going to use these straps, or they're kind of like Versagrips. They're not Versagrips. They're knockoffs, but they're good. So I am absolutely a believer in straps for a lot of different things. And in my opinion, it doesn't compromise grip strength because if you're doing what I do, what you should be doing, if you follow me, you've heard me talking about it a lot. Every single exercise you do, you should be squeezing as hard as you possibly can to stabilize that wrist. So whatever, whether it be bench press, rows, laterals, press downs, doesn't matter, curls, whatever exercise you're doing, you should be squeezing as hard as you can. So my forearms are getting worked on every single exercise I do, period. Even if I'm doing legs, I'm still squeezing hard with my grip. So using straps on something like this, where like I can do this without straps, it's not too heavy for me to do. By locking my wrists in like that, locking my hands in, I just get to get a lot more into that lat. I don't have to focus on keeping my grip, anything like that. So I definitely believe in straps when necessary. Tuck the hips underneath, and then when I pull down, I'm going to keep my abs tight. Oh, man. That felt a bit light. That's okay. Rest a little bit more. We'll do another set of these inclines. Rest periods. Um, I usually put like on my programs, I put a minute to 3 minutes. Give people a range. Really, you want to rest until you feel good to go, right? Um, in the beginning, if you don't really know what to do, you're just kind of learning yourself. Then pick a time, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. Just pick a time and kind of go by that until you learn how you feel. But point being, like shortening your rest period to keep going and keep your heart rate up, type of thing. Like you wind up fatiguing yourself so much that your training intensity suffers so much that it's not paying off. You know what I'm saying? Like if you rest longer to where you're good to go, you can hit that set so much harder that's gonna far supersede like the little bit of extra intensity you have by shortening your rest periods, right? So the phrase I use a lot for things like this is if you're trying to cut your rest periods to make it more intense, you're basically stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're making it harder, but not in a good way. You know what I mean? So um, I always like to rest, even if I'm doing a superset. Like I superset these, the chest and back, but I'm still catching my breath in between to where I feel like I can focus and really put my all into that set. So that being said, let's do this last one. Particularly going into a drop set. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to go into a drop set while you're still out of breath. Oh, fuck. Put one of these on. What are you doing, boy? Oh. I mean, it's kind of the same idea as what they call a ki in martial arts. And what it is it's just all it really is it's a sharp exhale to contract the core, which stabilizes. And then usually when you have a sharp exhale and the air comes out your throat, your vocal cords vibrate and it makes a fucking sound. So I mean, you can make words if you want, but the exhale, the grunting or whatever, like people might make fun of it, but it does legitimately make you stronger. I mean, in the sense that it's bracing, stability, things like that. Oh, hi, Domino. There's my girl. There's my girl. Yeah, that's my girl. Oh, fuck this. Ah. Feeling it so good. Ah. Ah. He loves to play this game. Tug with your finger. Huh. Gonna get both of this. He looks big and scary, but he's unbelievably gentle. How he bites your hand. Domino's daddy's girl. That's my baby right there. Huh. Katana's just Katana. Hi. Thank you. I have to do this now.
On all levels except physical, I am a wolf.
I'll show you guys one thing. That's why we're here with the bench. Kind of like I was talking about with the rows. A lot of people, they want to grab the bar like this, where it's all up high in their hands, the wrists are bent back. What you really want to do is you want to get this bar as much over this outside part of your arm as possible, okay? because your forearm, that's the best way I can show you. Let me sit up. Is made of two bones, right? You have the ulna on the outside here, which is the bigger, more stable bone. And then you have the radius on this side, which is smaller and more flexible to allow your arm to rotate like this, right? So when we're doing the bench press, what we want to do is we want to get that bar to the outside of our arm over that stronger, more stable bone. So you want to kind of twist the hands like this so you can see where that bar sits across the heel of my hand. And then when I go to grab like this, my grip can be, my wrist, as you can see, is relatively straight. It's almost perfectly straight, but that bar is still sitting nice and firmly in that part of the hand. So that's the same thing with the grip. So you want to kind of play with your grip, and you'll find just that right spot where it just feels like everything locks into place. That wrist, elbow, shoulder clicks. You go, oh, that's where my grip's supposed to be. So once you finally figure that out, that in itself is a major game changer.
Almost there. Now head for the lid. Cold? Warmer? 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 You're hot! You're on fire! Oh, it burns! Okay.
Squeeze really tight. So when we lift off, we want to flare keep the lats tight. Elbows come out like this at the lift off, and then we engage the lats to bring that bar forward. But you don't want to be tight here and trying to lift off, otherwise you're compacting the shoulders. It's all triceps. So elbows out to get the bar off, lats engaged to pull in front, and then press. So we'll do straight arm pull down. So straight arm. What I mean by that is you don't want to be perfectly straight. If you're keeping perfectly straight, you're using too much shoulder and rotator cuff. So we're going to have a slight bend in those elbows, and then we want to keep the arm stiff, right? So think like you're trying to bring your tricep back. So think triceps back, big stretch reaching forward, triceps back. The bar is coming around the waist, but don't get carried away with where that bar is going. It's going to be a little bit wider in shoulder width. Step back, tuck the hips under, keep the abs tight. Big stretch so those shoulder blades come up. Triceps back. Are you ready to do this last set? I'm fucking beat. So now in my own programming, I'm doing 3 exercises for chest, 3 exercises for back. So we did a fly, we did an incline press, and now we're doing flat press for the chest. We did a row and a pull down, and then a straight arm pull down, pull over type movement for the back. So the more advanced you get, the bigger and stronger you get, the more intense you train, the less you're actually going to do. So starting out, if you're newer to the gym, you're not as big, you're not as strong yet, the weights that you're using, like if somebody's benching 135, even if that's heavy for them, 135 is not going to be as strenuous on the body as like 315 pounds. Even if this guy can bench 315 easier than this guy can bench 135, that 135 is not going to be as taxing on the body as that 315. So the more advanced you get, the less work you're going to do, but the more you're going to put into those sets, right? So if you have someone that's newer doing 3 sets per exercise, maybe 4 exercises for each muscle in the workout instead of 3. So like for me, I'm doing 3 exercises, 2 sets each, right? So I'm doing 6 sets for chest, 6 sets for back. That's all I'm doing, right now for me, right? Other people, like the like a bodybuilding program on my app, the volume program is going to be 4 exercises, 3 sets. So you're doing a little bit more, but the intensity is not as much. Whereas the intensity program I do is going to be more like what I do. It's going to be less sets, less exercises as well. So it's on paper less work, but in reality, the way that you're performing those sets is actually a lot more work. So that's part of the thing where your programming has to evolve along with you as you evolve.
What is it, Peterson?
I'm not sure. I feel a disturbance.
All right, let's do this last one before I throw up. Oh, that's it. Done with the chest. Feeling it too. Chest is full. Volume, intensity, all that. One thing I didn't understand for a long time, particularly when I first started working out, first when I was 16 years old, and I didn't know anything about anything. I literally just did every exercise that I knew for a muscle group. So I was doing for chest, I was doing this press machine, incline bench press, flat bench press, decline bench press, incline dumbbell flies, flat dumbbell flies, decline dumbbell flies, cable flies, and pec deck. I don't even fucking know how many, like everything. I remember I counted one time. I don't remember how many sets I was doing per thing, but I remember counting it up one time, and I was doing 65 sets for chest, and then so on. So I didn't know at all what I was doing. And so my point is, a lot of times I would train, and you get this crazy pump like you do, but then by the end of the workout, my pump would be gone. And it's because I'd overdone it. I'd overtrained. I stressed the body too much. So you want to finish your workout where like the muscles still feel like they're going to explode, like you still have that pump. You don't want to start to decline. The best way that I've heard it put is like comparing it to like buying stock, right? Like if you buy in low, right, when you're fresh to the workout, so the price is low, and you're going to work out, the price is going to go up and up and up and up, and then you want to sell while it's at the max value in your workout while you've gotten the most stimulation, because after that, it starts to come back down. So if you start to come back down in your workout, then you're losing gains basically than if you would have sold and stopped your workout at your peak. So you don't want to hold on too long or train too much to where you start to decline. So for me, that was one of the hardest things for me to like wrap my mind around, was the idea of what seemingly feels like less training to me is actually more in some cases, because it's all about how much you put into it. But then again, if you're going to come in and you're going to do 3 exercises, 2 sets like I do, but you don't fucking train hard, you're not doing enough. So that's where it, like, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with the effort that you put out, and be honest with where you're at in your developmental stage. If you need to do more volume in the beginning, or if you're someone who's a little bit more advanced and can do more intensity. But let's get this last one done. Stretch. Chest is full. Oh, cool, guys. So that's chest and back. Sorry, catching my breath. Tired, but that was a good one. So, if you guys have questions about any of the exercises or maybe something that I didn't do, let me know. Next time we do a chest and back workout, I'll do some different stuff. I'm always kind of changing up variations so you'll see some different things each time. But don't forget to like, subscribe. If you try this workout yourself, let me know how it goes. Any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time.